Hi, I'm Val. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll show you how to express your vintage style in a minimalist way by taking one blouse and creating distinctive vintage looks from 3 decades. Let's start with the 1920s. After moisturizing, I'm starting off applying an eye primer to help the eye makeup stay on better. For this look, I decided to skip the foundation and just brush on some pressed powder, covering the whole face. In the 20s, the sad baby doll look was popular. So for the blush, I'm using a brush to create a circular motion on the cheeks at the front of the face. '20s eyebrows are a distinctive, thin, long line. Some people would remove their eyebrows and draw thin lines in its place to achieve this look. I'll keep my eyebrows this time, but we'll use a thin brush to draw them in with some brown eyeshadow. I start in the inner corner and work my way to the outside, following natural brown till the outside, in which I bring it down to create a droopy, sad look. For the eyeshadow, I'm filling in the lid with a dark charcoal shade from the Naked palette, following the droop of the eyebrow, leaving just the top of the brow bone bare. Going in under the bottom lashes as well. For the eyeliner, I start off with a thick eyeliner marker from NYX and create a thick line on the top lash line from one corner to the other. The 20s often sought inspiration from ancient Egyptian fashion, which is where the popularization of the eyeliner came into play. Now I'll go over the thick line we just made with NYX liquid liner and thin brush to fill it in and clean it up. After that dries, I'm taking a black shadow to create a more smoky effect by brushing it over the liner on the top lash line. Adding pigment to the inner and outer crease and corner as well as the bottom lash line. Nice and smoky. Now I'll apply magnetic lashes. I've found that magnetic lashes are easier to apply than ones with adhesive, but they don't seem to stay in place as long, especially in the corners, so they're great for short-term wear in my experience. I just apply the liquid liner on top of the other makeup, let it dry a bit, and then place the lashes on. So easy. I'm using a shorter, thick lash for this look. I then run some mascara through my natural lashes to blend them in. With the 20s look, there's a lot of emphasis on the bottom lashes. Longer bottom lashes help achieve that baby doll look, so I'm adding mascara heavily to the bottom lashes. Next, I'll line my lips with this MAC lip pencil. The 20s have a very distinctive lip shape. There's a heavy emphasis on the Cupid's bow and an overall heart shape. I start by making a V shape on the top lip to define the Cupid's bow. I then draw a line from the top of the curve to the bottom outer corner of the lip, but not following the natural lip line. We're creating more volume in the center of the lips, thinning the line as we move closer to the outer corners. This creates that pouty heart shape. For the bottom, we start in the middle, creating more volume and thinning it out as we reach the corners. Now to fill it in with lipstick, I'm using NYX Matte Lipstick in the shade Alabama. Alright, makeup's done, time to move on to the hair. Short hair was all the rage in the 20s, so if women didn't want to chop off their lovely locks, they usually pinned it back to create a bob effect, which is what I will be doing here. I'm using Mailing Goat's styling paste to help the styling stay in place and to protect the hair. I'm taking a curling wand to create some waves. Finger waves were a common style in the 20s. I happen to have short layers in the front, but this should be able to be achieved with longer hair as well. Now combing it out and moving the waves in the direction I want around my face, using hairspray to hold it in place. I'll be adding a scarf covering most of the hair later, so I'm focusing on the hair framing my face. And the 20s look is finished. I'm completing this look with a long full skirt and 20s style Mary Jane shoes. 20s fashion was all about loose fitting dresses with an emphasis on the hips and a straight boyish figure. This is a high-waisted full skirt meant as a mid-century style, but it can be versatile as well as the blouse, depending on how you style it. Those skirts were shorter than ever in women's fashion history. They were still not seen above the knee. I leave the blouse untucked to achieve a look of a low waist. Next, we'll move into the 50s, starting off priming my eyes again. Using a liquid concealer to create a neutral base for the lid. Quite contrary from the 20s smudgy look, the 50s were all about clean, crisp lines. Once again, I'm choosing to skip foundation and move straight into the powder, but foundation would also be a great addition to this polished look. I'm moving the blush over the tops of my cheekbones in an upward motion, focusing on the apples of the cheeks. I'm taking a brow brush to shape and fill in my brows, following the natural shape, but creating a crisp, full line. In the 50s, we start seeing more full brows, like with Elizabeth Taylor and Audrey Hepburn. Taking the lightest shade from the Naked palette, I'm filling in the lid. With the next darkest shade, I'm darkening the crease and outer corner slightly. Except for the dramatic wing liner, the 50s eye makeup stayed fairly natural. Once again, I'm using the thick NYX liner marker to create a winged line on my top lash with an emphasis on the outer corner. I'm drawing the line extending well past my natural lash line for a dramatic cat eye look. I try to keep the lines as smooth and clean as possible. Oops! I'll just clean that up with some makeup remover and start over. Now to fill in and clean up with the liquid liner. This part can be tricky since my lashes always seem to be in the way. After it dries, we go over it a bit with brown shadow to smooth the harsh lines just a bit and darken the outer crease. We're adding magnetic lashes again, going with thin, longer lashes this time. Curling the natural lashes first. 50s fashion was all about embracing femininity. So long lashes, full red lips, neat polished hair, and accentuated curves. We'll brush on some mascara to blend the natural lashes with the false ones, adding a touch to the bottom, but not as exaggerated as we did with the 20s look. We're more focused on the top lash line with this 50s look. I'll use that same MAC red lip pencil to define the lips. We start to move from the pouty baby doll lips of the 20s into more full lips, lining the entire lip instead of just the middle. I'm overlining my top lip because it is naturally thin and I want to achieve that more full look that we see in the 50s. I start by lining the natural shape of my lips and then go back and overline the top as desired. filling in with this NYX matte lipstick. Red was still the go-to lip color for the 50s. We start to see more orangey tones. Makeup is looking good now. Onto the hair. I slept in sponge rollers to achieve this hair look. I rolled the hair under in all the same direction to create cohesive waves. I'm just removing the rollers and brushing the curls out, manipulating the hair as I go to move in the same direction for that polished wavy look. Like the 20s, we want to frame the face with the waves. We started to see longer hairstyles in the 40s, but short curled hairstyles made a comeback in the 50s. I will achieve a shorter 50s style by pinning the curls up around my head. Alright, it's finished. I'm using the skirt from the 20s look, but instead of leaving the blouse untucked for a low waist, I tucked it in to create that 50s high cinched waist and hourglass figure. I added some ballet flats to complete the look. On to my personal favorite decade, the 60s. Adding that primer again, as this will be a heavy emphasis on the eyes. The 60s were all about the dramatic eye look as we move into a distinctive cut crease, colorful shadows, and super thick long lashes. I chose to start off with a dewy light foundation by Sephora and some contouring with a NYX contouring stick since I'll be doing a photo shoot later. Setting it with sheer powder. For the blush, I'm using a blush stick by Milk, just filling in the cheekbones with color. Except for the eyes, the 60s maintain a fairly natural look, allowing freckles and other beauty marks to shine through. Using the lightest shade of the Naked palette, I'm creating a light base for the lid. Like in the 50s look, I'm adding the next shade darker to create a slight crease. The 60s was all about emphasizing the eyes and making them look as big as possible. One way to achieve that was to add white liner to the waterline and under the lash line to open the eyes. For the eyebrows, I'm using a Sephora eyebrow pencil to create a natural brow, just filling in, following my natural brow shape. I'll go ahead and start outlining the cut crease. I'm using a thin brush and dark eyeshadow to draw a loose line of where I want the crease to be in case I need to go back and adjust it. I'm starting in the inner corner and working my way to just under the brow bone and bringing it down past my lash line to create a sloping effect. In the 60s, we start to see some reoccurring fashion trends of the 20s, with that baby doll look with sad, downward sloping eyes and long lower lashes, and the low waistline. But instead of creating the downward slope with the brows, we're creating the slope with the newly popular cut crease. Now to go over the line we just created with the thick NYX liner to define it a little more. And then going in with a liquid liner to clean it up and define even more. The goal is to achieve a clean, sharp line that tapers off on the ends. But this can take a lot of practice and patience to achieve at first. Now that the crease is the way I want it, I'll start adding a winged liner to the top lash line, similar to how we did in the 50s tutorial, except we'll keep the line more straight instead of sloping it upwards. The crease line in the outer corner should run parallel to the lash line without touching it to create some nice dramatic line action. For the 60s, we're going to go with the thickest, longest lashes. You can see how the combination of super long lashes, cut crease, and white liner make the eyes look enormous. We'll blend the top lashes with mascara and elongate the lower lashes as we did in the 20s tutorial. I'm adding a bit of liquid highlighter just to be extra. Red was out and pink or neutral lips were all the rage in the 60s, so I'm just using a pink matte lip gloss from Sephora for a natural look. Long hair started making a comeback in the 60s, and we start to see more straight styles for the first time. It was popular to have fullness on top and a slight flip on the bottom. For the curls in my hair, I rolled the ends of the hair upward in hopes to achieve this flip. I think my hair is too thin for this, or maybe I'm just not doing it right, but I still like how it turned out. I'm brushing it in the desired direction. At this point it's looking a little more late 70s, but we'll fix that with some volume on top. I'm creating a small ponytail on top to serve as a base for the hairpiece. For the bangs, I decided to pin the middle up out of the way and allow the curls to frame my face on the sides. finally, I'm adding a clip-in ponytail to add volume to the top. It was very common for women to wear hairpieces in the 60s to create those epic voluminous hairstyles. Alright, I added a scarf to my hair and a long beaded necklace, which was also a common motif borrowed from the 20s. I'm pairing the blouse with a mini skirt, which were all the rage, and colored tights. The look can be achieved with the blouse tucked in or out. Alright, this completes the tutorial of 3 distinct vintage styles using the same clothes. This is great if you're living in a small space like myself, or just want to live more minimally but still maintain your unique vintage style. I thoroughly enjoyed making this video, and I hope you enjoyed it as well, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already for more vintage and van life content. Thanks for watching!